Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Rich Longo, and I'll be your host for today's presentation. I want to thank you for joining us for another Flycast Partners webinar. Today's webinar is Can Your ITSM Tool Do This?, presented by Flycast Partners' own Kyle Hamilton. Where do I start with Kyle? Kyle has about 2 decades of experience in the IT industry, and he has a strong knowledge and understanding of many of the ITSM and ITM tools that are out there on the market today, all using best ITIL processes. He has implemented, he has shown, he has demonstrated, you name it, he has done it when it has come to these tools. And even some tools outside of the ITSM and ITM realm that almost go into the IT operations realm. So before we get started, Kyle, let me introduce our organization. Flycast Partners is here to deliver a seriously amazing IT experience. We are founded and staffed by personnel that have many years of experience in the IT space. We took the best ideas from these collective experience and added the best components necessary to grow and become a leading value-added reseller in the North American IT market. We offer best-in-class implementation services and training in IT Service Management, IT Asset Management, IT Operations Management, Enterprise Service Management, and workload automation spaces using ITIL best practice. Our professional services can easily scale up or down to meet the IT needs of any customer, regardless of your size, complexity, or budgetary restrictions. We offer implementation services both on-site and remote, as well as training to reinforce your company's long-term IT success. Ongoing remote administration and support service offerings will enable your organization to focus on those normal day-to-day operations, saving you both time and money. We encourage you to call us at any time at 844-FLYCAST, that's 844-359-2278, or visit our website and chat with our live IT specialists. They'll be happy to answer any questions that you have in the chat box. Check out our website for upcoming webinars that we have going on or events that may be happening or training that we offer. You can go to our webinar page and see that we even have an ITIL 4 webinar coming up here shortly. It's something that a lot of you might be interested in, and we're addressing asset management next week. We definitely have a lot of folks on today's presentation that have joined us for today's webinar. I want to thank you for joining us and getting on as early as you have as it continues to fill up. Without further ado, I'm actually going to turn this over to Kyle Hamilton, our star of the next 40 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Rich. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
Okay, fantastic. Well, welcome everybody to today's webinar. I certainly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to attend. Today we are going to talk about Avanti's IT Service Management solution, and I'm going to primarily focus and talk about several key features that I believe differentiate Avanti within the space, and certainly features that I think are things that make the biggest difference within a customer environment. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Avanti, the name may be new to some of you. It's just a little over 2 years old. However, the solution we're looking at has about a 33-year history, previously known as Front Range Heat. And so the Avanti name, while new, the technology and the solution has been around and evolving for some time. And due to that history, what is offered is a very complete and extensive service management tool that not only encompasses the basic ITSM processes like incident and problem and change, but also more advanced, what I would consider to be more advanced processes, or the upper echelon processes like availability management, release management, some of those areas you just step up that ladder from incident, problem to change. And overall, there are 15 ITIL verified modules that are included within Avanti Service Management out of the box. And I'll talk a little bit about a couple of those features before we'll dive in and kind of divert over to some of the really, what I find are the really cool things. But in terms of the breadth of the application and extending beyond those basics, some of the options that are available in Avanti and maybe cross the boundary between IT service management and even outside to things like project management, so that you can use this for a lot more than just basic service desk tracking and processing. So you can see here there is a full project and portfolio management module included in Avanti Service Management. This allows you the ability to track a portfolio of projects. In this case, I've got, I'll jump back up here, that one created for marketing campaigns that you may initiate throughout the year. For as an example, within each portfolio, you can have different projects allocated within there. If I dive into any one project, I can take a look at things like completion of the project, budgetary consumption. If I dive a little bit deeper and actually look into the project, you'll see this goes into full phase kind of project management, where I can see the different phases of the project along with things like the schedule. And this provides Gantt chart capability with the ability to interact directly with the project through here. So as I'm dealing with particular phases of the project, you'll note these are all active within the Gantt chart. So I might need to reschedule a particular phase. I may need to lengthen that particular project phase to take up more time. And of course, all of the portfolio and project management dovetails directly back into all of the IT service management and service support processes, from incident to problems to changes. And a lot of those items are hidden here by default. And you'll see I can easily pull those tabs out, so that if I've got incidents that are related to that project, or I've got changes that are necessary related to that project, I can create and log those here, so I can track all that service management and service support activity right alongside the project. But it also gives me, of course, more focused project management tools to deal with things like project risk, project issues. So if I feel like there's a particular risk associated with a project, could be budgetary risk, could be scope creep, could be schedule risk. I also have the ability to go in and detail those risks, set up workflow around your project and portfolio management, just as you can with incident process or change management process, so that these projects and portfolios that you're managing, not only can you document and detail things like budgets and consumption and timeframes, but also to be able to track and manage approvals, to be able to automatically generate notifications and updates related to that. And you'll see within this detailed section in my journal, I have some of those automated workflows built, so that as budgets are, or we're exceeding budget, or we're under budget, or we need to update somebody about one of those project risks, we can automate all that activity through simple drag and drop workflow that's available directly within Avanti. Makes it easy for you to be able to go in and create your project management or portfolio management process within Avanti and bend this and mold this to your specific process, rather than being forced into any one particular mode or process as it's built out of the box. Just one example of some of what I would consider to be more advanced capabilities. Also contains things like release management, availability management, and availability kind of up there on the upper end of the IT service management and service support ladder. And there are not only out-of-the-box modules for dealing with availability, but also a high degree of metrics that are available out of the box that allow you to measure and accurately report on that availability. With the ability to be able to automate this into the environment, many customers have monitoring tools. They'll have applications that are, looking at specific servers, uptime, processes that are running, whether they're responding to ping requests and things like that. We can automate the capture of those events, so that as we detect downtime, or that server is non-responsive, or an application is non-responsive, those things are all automatically getting logged within Avanti Service Management. So you'll see here on this metrics dashboard, when it comes to the different services that you provide your customers, whether that's IT services, desktop support services, facilities. Not only can you track the actual availability based on those outages that get recorded, whether you record those manually or whether you capture those automatically, but also to be able to set your own individual targets. So you'll see you have a target for those specific services that we want to shoot for. So when it comes time to report and get analytics, you can see how well you're doing and tracking against those expected targets. So it makes it easy to extend beyond, the basics of IT service management and support, and actually allow you to get into some fine-grained details about how your service is actually performing. And of course, that directly relates back to, customer satisfaction. So this is a broad application that gives you the ability to grow for a long period of time as you move into some of those advanced processes. Now, there's also some very new, some have been existing features for a while that I think are the difference makers when we're talking about an IT service management tool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those options that are available. The first of those being what we call the Avanti Voice Server. Now, I'm sure a lot of you, phone calls is a frequent contact method for the service desk. Typically, you've got a combination of phone calls coming in, you've got emails being sent, you may have a self-service portal where they're logging their own tickets, you may have mobile devices where they're logging from mobile, perhaps even chat sessions being logged. One way to ease the burden of the service desk is to be able to automate the phone side of all of that activity, and so Avanti offers what they call Avanti Voice. This is something that can be quickly and readily deployed within your environment and hooked directly into your phone system to enable you to automate not only users that are calling in to submit tickets, but things like status and update information, as well as being able to completely automate activities. Most commonly requested would be password reset as an example. So what I'm going to do here is I've got the Avanti Service Management tool brought up here in the background. I am currently logged in. Well, I'll have to log back in. I'm currently logged in as an analyst. So you'll see up here at the top, I'm logged in as Sheldon, who is a service desk analyst, and he's sitting here on the Avanti homepage. And you'll see right up here at the top, he's got himself flagged and ready to take that next call or that next ticket coming in. Now on the flip side, I've got Penny, who's an end user who has a particular issue to report. So I've got a soft phone brought up here to kind of simulate somebody dialing into the service desk so that you can kind of get an idea for how this could be configured in your environment. And I'm going to walk through a couple scenarios so that you can see what kind of capabilities you can build out with this particular solution. So as Penny dials into the service desk, you're going to hear
the virtual desktop application.
Some updates.
Users will be contacted about training shortly.
To report a new incident, press 1. To inquire about an existing incident, press 2. To reset your domain password, press 3. For hardware problems, please press 1. For software problems, please press 2.
The destination number was not found.
Now you'll notice what happens, and I'm going to hang this up real fast so we don't have to listen to that on hold music. This first scenario is kind of that initial basic automation, which is designed so that when users call into the service desk, as your analysts are logged in and ready to take that call, it's taking that caller information from that voice server, passing it to that next available agent that's logged in and ready to go, and it's doing what we call a screen pop. So you'll notice down here it's automatically opened up an incident form. It's populated Penny's information and details from the caller ID. it's identified, based on those voice prompts that she had some type of hardware issue. So at this point, Sheldon's ready to not only address Penny by name the minute he picks up the phone and that call routes to his desk, but also to have a basic understanding of what kind of issue she's ready to report and can immediately start, getting the details related to it. That's kind of that first level of automation where you're just making sure that the minute the phone gets picked up, you're able to address that user by name and have a basic understanding of what you're dealing with. But if you want to talk about some of the higher level automation that's possible, we'll put Sheldon back into the queue here and we'll have Penny call in. And let's say in this case, Penny calls in and she wants the password reset.
Virtual desktop applications. Users will be contacted about training shortly.
To report a new incident, press 1. To inquire about an existing incident, press 2. To reset your domain password, press 3. To confirm your identity, please enter your personal identification number. Your password reset ticket number is
1 1 1 5 2.
Your new password is
Uppercase N 3 W P.
Now I won't make you listen to that whole thing because it goes on just a little bit. And by the way, you can speed and slow down that voice depending upon whether your users are capable of consuming that password a little faster. So you do have control over that. But that's a way in which you can easily take a large volume of calls off the service desk related to those password resets, have those things automatically recorded and documented. And so I can see if I go into the incident module and I take a look at those incidents that are out there, then you'll see here that it's logged that ticket for Penny. Now it's closed in this case because, of course, it automatically reset the password for Penny, notified her what her new password is, so she's able to hang up the phone, go on and log on to her computer and resume work. And based upon that response, we're able to meet that response and resolution SLA very easily, because we're able to automatically reset that password, and that's one less incident that the service desk ever has to see, ever has to deal with. They can focus on those things that require manual intervention and manual touch and automate operations like that. Now, in addition to being able to automatically log things like password resets, you may also have a situation where people are contacting the service desk and there isn't somebody available. So if somebody contacts the service desk and they need to report an issue, but maybe there's nobody, maybe Sheldon here has gone off on break. So he's not ready to take a call at the moment. There's nobody else available. So the user calls in to submit an issue, but can't get anybody, so it's not going to pop a screen.
Rollout of virtual desktop applications. Users will be contacted about training shortly.
to report a new incident, press 1. For hardware problems, please press 1. For software, please leave a message after the tone. Press any key or hang up to finish.
Yes, my PC's not working.
Your voicemail incident record
1 1 1 5 3
has been created.
Now you notice in that case, because I wasn't willing to hold on to that call for any longer, what ends up happening is it allows me to go ahead and submit that incident directly into the service desk since no one was available, and it actually creates a ticket, and what it does is it actually appends or attaches a WAV file recording of my voicemail so that when somebody comes back into the office or they come back from, Sheldon comes back from his break, he can see that somebody's created a ticket. They can listen to that voicemail and get an understanding of what kind of issue Penny's experiencing and what needs to be done. So again, makes for a much more pleasant experience for the end user because they're not having to sit there and wait on hold for long periods of time, and gives you the ability to have those tickets automatically generated versus having to enter those manually. Now, all of the voice prompts, one for hardware, two for software, whether it pops an incident screen, whether it brings up a change request, whether it brings up the employee record, all of that is configurable. So you also have the ability to tailor the behavior of that voice server for your environment specifically, so that if you have a particular workflow or process that you want to follow, maybe you don't want to have the voicemail tickets, or you do, you can easily go in as an administrator and configure that behavior and capture as much or as little information via that phone system as you can reliably expect that end user to provide, so that when that ticket gets created, you've got priority, you've got it categorized, you've got your details, everything needed to be able to immediately come back in and call that user back and respond to that request. So that's a very simple and an easy way with Avanti to offload a large volume of calls from the service desk and automate what's typically the largest percentage of those tickets with things like password resets. Now, in addition to the voice server, Avanti has a brand new feature that they call Avanti Hub. A lot of you have probably heard the term chatbot used in recent past. That's a new capability that's you probably used it on the internet at different sites, where a chatbot will pop up and ask you if you need help or assistance, or you want to talk to somebody a little bit further. And Avanti's implemented the same thing called the Avanti Hub. So down in my system tray, I have the hub running, and I can click on it at any point in time, and you'll see it brings open a window for me to interact with. Now you can, again, configure this with specifics for your environment. Here I've got a couple of quick tasks, quick buttons here on the dashboard or the hub board to be able to make a request or submit an incident to the service desk. So I can either click on one of these buttons to immediately say, hey, I want to request a new piece of software, in which case it's going to bring up a list of results. There may be some previous tickets that I've submitted related to software requests. Maybe I'm just trying to get status. I can come in and get status on those requests and see where they are in the process. I also have access to the service catalog through here. So if I need to make a new software request, I can click on that, and it takes me immediately to that software request form inside of Avanti, so that I can start providing the details related to what kind of software I want, which computer I want it installed on, etc. And again, this is completely configurable for your environment in terms of the information and the detail that you want to capture through here. Also give me the ability to interact with the knowledge base, which may be one of the most critical pieces. Maybe I simply log in and say I can't print. As I type, you'll notice it automatically searches. And again, it may pull up previous tickets that I've submitted dealing with printer issues. It may also direct me to a knowledge base article that instructs me on exactly how to resolve that printer issue on my own. So another easy way to give users direct access to the service desk, for one, it doesn't require them to navigate anywhere beyond their desktop. They don't have to open up a website, they don't have to log in, they don't have to go searching for something. They simply bring open that hub window, type their question, type their keyword, and they're going to start getting results from that knowledge base, from the service catalog, from their ticket history, so they can immediately dive into any of those areas that they're looking for. Now, maybe most important and one of the nicest features is that true chatbot feature, where you can actually create scripts for the user to be able to walk through a process. So if I go to the chat, then you'll notice here, I can simply come in here and type my question or type my issue directly into this chatbot box, right? So I might just say, I need help. Nope, and I guess I need to sign back in. Let me sign back in real fast. And this allows me to go in and set up scripts to walk the user through maybe some steps to hopefully resolve that issue for the user. And if not, allow them to go ahead and submit that ticket directly to the service desk. So I will follow up again and we'll say, I can't print. All right, so I have all of my results, but maybe I want to go in and see what that chatbot agent has to say. So these are the scripts that will automatically appear and that you can configure. So I can say I can't print. And here we can say, well, let's say I need help printing. Now, this is where you can configure the options that they have available. So maybe I have a printing request. If I have a printing issue, maybe I need to go ahead and create an incident. It's going to ask me some follow-up questions. Yes, I do want to submit an incident. Here's where I can say printer is not responding. Now here's where if I have additional details, maybe I want to say it's an HP LaserJet printer. So they know exactly what printer I'm dealing with. Now, you can, again, configure those follow-up questions. If there's more detail needed, maybe you want to ask them how urgent an issue this is, if it's something that needs to be addressed immediately or if it could be put off. Or you can see here, once I capture that detail and that summary, we're ready to submit the ticket. It goes in, creates the ticket, gives the user that incident number, and then of course follows up with, is there anything else I can help you with? So this is another, in addition to things like the voice, and especially in combination with the voice capability, this is a way that you could easily offload 60, 70%, even 80% of the call volume directly off the service desk by implementing something like the Avanti Hub and the voice in concert to be able to automate a lot of that ticket submission activity, the knowledge-based searching, the service request activity, things like that. It also allows you to expose that full service catalog to the user. So whether I type that question in search and say, maybe I need a new employee onboarded, it's going to search through that catalog, find that request, and take me to the page where I can then go in and start putting in hiring information. When do they need to start? What kind of employee are they? Are they contract? Are they full-time? What kind of equipment do they need? Things like that. Again, give them kind of full access to a self-service portal, but a self-service portal that's directly available to them right off of their desktop versus forcing them to have to log in, navigate to a particular location, or find that particular form on their own, and give them the ability to submit virtually anything that they can do, through the standard Avanti self-service page. Again, all completely configurable based on, specific options that you want them to have. When they're done, they simply close it, goes right back into the system tray. They go back to work. If they have another problem, another need later on, they just simply go back and can pull that hub back open at any time and start interacting again. So it makes it very easy for them to gain access to the service desk, and it's a great way if you're dealing with lots of email tickets, which a lot of customers still are, to make it as easy, if not easier, to submit a ticket via that hub interface as it is to open up Outlook or Google Mail or something like that and start typing emails and sending emails, which are much more difficult to process and triage than through something where you've got a dedicated form and the ability to ask them specific questions and prompt them for specific information. Now, another very nice feature of Avanti, we talked about some of the metrics that I showed inside of Avanti related to availability and performance management inside the tool. Along with Avanti Service Management, also comes a tool called Extraction. Extraction is a BI, business intelligence tool that you have licenses for when you purchase Avanti, that allows you to go in and create very simple dashboards and mashups to allow you to get your key performance metrics and key performance indicators out of the service desk, as well as third-party applications. That's probably one of the biggest benefits of the extraction tool, is they're not limited to Avanti Service Management. We have connectors in here for all types of applications, Avanti or otherwise. Now, of course, Avanti has a large product portfolio, so everything from things like Endpoint Manager, where you're deploying patches, you're deploying applications, you're automatically capturing your inventory on a regular basis. So the ability to tap into all of the other Avanti apps and have the ability to report and create dashboards on those tools as well, in addition to, of course, Service Manager, which you'll see here. So I can come in and start grabbing dashboard information that I want to be able to manage and monitor, and be able to pull that up in real time, so that from a browser, I can go in and pull up all the dashboards I want and refresh these as needed, so that I have up-to-date and up-to-the-minute information related to what's going on within the service desk. Now, I can even go into any one of the data elements, the different components that are on the dashboard, and I can start drilling down into specific information. So let's say I wanted to take a look at, let's take a look at the March incidents, for example. I can come in here and say, I just want to focus on what's going on in March. You'll notice as I focus that down, not only does that focus just on that 1 month out of the year, but all of my other components on the dashboard have updated as well. So I only had 2 open VIP incidents in March. If I go back to look at everything, since April of 2018, I've had 5 VIP incidents. And of course, my counts down here related to the different services like desktop support and email and things like that, those also change focus. So the minute I adjust one component, every other report, every other piece on that dashboard automatically adjusts itself to focus in on that one specific area that I've keyed in on in that one graph. So allow you to drill down very easily. And of course, the added ability to be able to click and then drill down to that next level. So if you want to see specifics related to a particular ticket, you can. And going one step further, the ability to click on an individual record and have it go back to the service desk, query up that individual record so that it'll pull up the detail for me. Now this one, in this case, isn't online, so I don't have the ability to go all the way back to the individual record, but then give you the ability to kind of go from the high level to the detailed level. Oh, my apologies, I actually just launched right out of it. So you're going to get to see me go back. The other thing that this gives you the ability to do is it gives you the ability to tap into those third-party applications that I mentioned, maybe Active Directory, maybe you're using other tools. So when I log in here, maybe I want to pull from, let's say, I want to track something like compliance information. I want to dig into patching. I want to dig into app deployment. When I open up my folders here for extraction, you'll see that I've got some dashboards created that are pulling from multiple sources of information. So I'll go in here and I can actually set this up, and this is pretty common. So we'll take extraction, and customers want to have the large screen monitor somewhere in the support center, or maybe even on an executive or manager dashboard where they can sit and monitor data throughout the day, keep a watch on service desk activity, software deployment activity, whatever the case may be. So this provides the ability not only to view things one at a time, but to set up the dashboard in a way so that I can have these dashboards cycling through. So if I need multiple views, I can easily have that put on one dashboard. So I'll go in here and let's say I want to we'll grab that service management dashboard, for example. So we'll say I want the service desk metrics, yes. And if I click on that, it's going to bring that up for me to be able to view. But I might want other information as well. So maybe I go in and let's take SCCM as an example. Here's where I can go in and look at my software deployments. And maybe I'm collecting software information. So maybe I want software details. And I can click on that and simply bring that up, and it's going to go out and query that information directly out of Microsoft SCCM. I can also take that particular report, add it to my auto refresh down here so that I can set that up on a scroll. Or maybe I want some other information to come out of service management as well. So maybe I want to grab, in addition to some operational metrics, maybe I want to dig in a little bit to my incident handling. I want to look at agent performance. And as I put these down here, you'll notice down at the bottom, I can set those up to auto refresh, and I can set them up to auto cycle, and I'll ramp this down so we don't have to wait a tremendous amount of time. And once I've set that up, this becomes that big board in the service desk where it's going to scroll through each of those added dashboards down there. So I can simply look up and keep watch on activity, whether it's software deployments, whether it's agent performance, whether it's the change management metrics, and have this in an area where everybody can keep tabs on what's going on. And of course, I can stop that at any point in time. I can go back and I can remove any one of those elements from that cycle if I decide I don't want it or don't need it anymore. And it gives you the easy ability to build into this library as well. So this is a very easy tool for anybody to be able to come in and create a dashboard that's going to display key and important information for your environment. So let's say I want some graphical information that's going to show me who's assigned to what incidents. So maybe I want to drag a chart onto my dashboard that's going to give me a breakdown of everybody that's currently assigned incidents within the service desk. And maybe I also want to get a couple of what we call scorecards that are just going to give me kind of high-level counts of tickets that have come into the service desk, for example. Then maybe I want to get a list of specific incidents, which this, of course, should represent the 9,174 incidents that are represented here that have been opened during the last month. Now I've got a detailed list sitting right next to it that shows me those specific incidents. And again, from here, I've got the ability to then drill down into that incident. So I can look at status information, update information as it relates specifically to that ticket. And I can go in and remove these and maybe add some additional elements. You've got a large list of different types of dashboards to be able to create. So you've got templates that can be used to help you define how many different elements you want on the screen. You may want a dozen or more, so that you can create these and display all that relevant information. You can take any of the information that you see here on the screen and you can export a graphic file, attach it to an email and send it to that executive or manager. You can export the raw data directly out of here so that if you want to hand it to somebody in any number of formats, PowerPoint to PDF to Excel, I've got an easy way to get that information in somebody else's hands, and you can even schedule that activity to recur on an automatic basis so that this information's constantly exporting data out and emailing either those graphic files to be reviewed or the data for somebody to pull into Excel or Access or some other analytics tool to be able to report on. So it gives you the easy ability to dig down into the service desk as well as in any other third-party app that you may be using in your environment, so that you have the ability to manage and build this library of applications that you report off of, as well as build a library of dashboards for you to be able to dig into. So this is a great way to be able to not only slice and dice your service desk information, but to be able to bring in information from those external sources. So if I want to create a mashup of not only my service desk information, but maybe Active Directory data, or maybe I've got Oracle financials and I want to be able to pull in financial information. This is a tool that can easily reach out and bring in all those disparate sources and allow you to create dashboards that allow you to report across the enterprise, not just one product, not just one vendor, but virtually everything you've got in the environment, and make it easy enough for really any user to be able to come in and build those dashboards easily for themselves. So these are some of the, what I feel are some of the difference makers with Avanti. Everybody has an incident management module, everybody has a problem management, everybody does change. You're not going to see the voice piece in any other products, typically without lots of specific consulting and typically some development work. So with Avanti, it's much easier to set up with that voice server already being built and ready to plug in. Many of the business analytics and business intelligence tools, while maybe providing something of a similar interface, they're typically focused on their product. They'll allow you to report on your incidents and problems and changes in the service desk, but they're not going to give you the ability to reach out into Oracle or reach out into SolarWinds or reach out into Active Directory or, McAfee antivirus, for example. These are the types of things that I think differentiate this tool from a lot of the other BI tools that you see, and its ability to be able to go out and grab information from other applications so that you have one place to be able to report and get metrics on everything. And then of course the Avanti Hub is a brand new feature just out in the last couple weeks that I think is, for a lot of customers, is going to be a great way to avoid the phone calls, avoid processing emails, and make it very easy for the end user to be able to access the service desk right from their desktop. So they have a much more pleasant experience, fewer calls, fewer emails to process, and free up a lot of time on the service desk for other activities that require that manual touch. So I hope that kind of gives you a taste. And so this is a very broad product. When you look at this, the features and the modules that are included, that we could talk for days about the different capabilities of just Avanti. But I think when you're talking about what makes Avanti stand apart and different from the other products on the market, I think it's going to be things like the Avanti Hub and extraction and things like the voice server that are going to be those differentiators that customers can really take advantage of. So I know we're coming up right at the 45-minute mark. I want to make sure we open it up. So if there's anybody out there that has any questions, please feel free and type those into the chat box in the meeting, and we'll be happy to respond.
As of right now, Kyle, we do not have any questions. Folks, as you heard Kyle say, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A section or in the chat box. He'll be happy to answer them. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your very busy day to join us for another Flycast Partners webinar. Kyle, I want to thank you as well for joining us and doing this presentation for us. Thank you. It's been a while.
It has. You are very welcome. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the time.
All right. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your week.